Hey guys, welcome back. Now, as we've just entered the final part of the year, now is a good time to take a step back and check and see how everything has performed. Unfortunately, due to social media, there's never been more noise and opinions flying about than ever before. Whether it's inverted yield curves going to crash the economy, or crypto is going to zero, or Ethereum is old tech and dead again, and everything else. And so in this video, we are going to be stepping out from all the noise and checking in with the cold, hard numbers. We'll see where has been the best place to invest this year, what has been the winners and the losers, and where should we be investing for next year. Okay, so first up, let's step back, check in with the numbers, and we'll see which asset classes have been the winners and the losers. Okay, starting with a big one, and it's stocks. And representing stocks, we're going to use the S&P 500. And this will also be the place where all the index fund investors, well, pretty much most of them will be investing. And this is also quite important as this is also my personal benchmark. When it comes to understanding the question, how am I doing this year? We need a comparison, and it's not good to compare it against the one single crypto that's gone up 700%, as you'll always feel bad. And it's an unfair comparison, which is why they say comparison is a thief of joy. But if we choose our comparison, and for me, it's the S&P 500, as if I could only do one thing in a year, it would be so simple to invest in an S&P 500 index fund. So this is my comparison against trying to do it myself, investing in all different things, investing in all different cryptos. I have to be able to beat the S&P 500, unless what is the point of doing anything? Just park your money here. Okay, that being said, the S&P 500 is having another amazing year, up almost 24%. So that is the benchmark, 24%. So congrats to all the index fund investors, as this is amazing returns, and an index fund is a great place to be once you've got some serious capital. It's my plan to build capital using crypto, and then I'll be putting a big chunk of it in an S&P 500 index fund. However, to grow your wealth using an index fund, it can take 20, 30, 40 years. That's the only downside. So, despite everyone saying an inverted yield curve is going to crash the economy, despite having super high interest rates this whole time, the S&P 500 has crushed it at 24%. Now, I don't normally do shout outs to individual stocks, however, this one does deserve a special mention. Did you know that Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy is the #1 stock in the entire S&P 500? And it's gone up over 200% this year alone. So I can imagine Michael Saylor is a very happy chap right now. Okay, next up, another place that a lot of people park their money is bonds. And for the bond market, unfortunately, there's lots of different ways we can do it. There's high yield bonds, there's corporate bonds, there's short-term bonds, there's long-term bonds. So just to get one figure, we'll use a total bond market index by Vanguard. And unfortunately, this one has barely been able to get 1% for investors. So for all the bond investors, I'm struggling to see why this one makes sense, especially if you deduct inflation, then you're going to be negative. Next, we're going to look at commodities. And again, there's lots of different commodities. So we've gone for an index, and it's the Goldman Sachs Commodities Index. And again, unfortunately, after a great start to the year, commodities have really struggled and again barely got 1%. So after inflation, again with commodities, you are negative. Now, next we have gold, and as we can see, gold is having an amazing year. Talk about up and to the right, setting new all-time highs and up over 30%. So gold definitely does not do this every single year. I also checked in on silver, and silver's doing even better at 40%. So gold and silver investors are finally catching a bid and have done very, very well. Now, next we move on to the crypto market. And as we know, look how volatile the crypto market has been. We've had this massive early mid-cycle top and huge correction. We've had so many people saying crypto is going to zero. However, how did it do? Well, the crypto market up almost 45%, crushing everything we've seen so far, barring MicroStrategy. So the crypto market is doing very, very well, but obviously there's hundreds of different places to invest. And so a very simple place and simple strategy someone could have used is just invest in Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is having an amazing year, up 55% at the time of this recording, just short of 69,000, and it's crushed everything we've seen so far. So from a risk-adjusted basis, Bitcoin has been an excellent investment. Now, putting all this together, in no particular order, we'll say cash, being generous, even though CPI is around 2.5%. Anyone who actually checks their bills or checks the things they buy, it's certainly a lot more than that. So let's be generous and say cash has gone down -5%, being the actual inflation rate. Next, S&P 500, we saw another amazing year. Bonds struggled to get 1%, and so with inflation negative, property is actually very hard to do because you've got commercial property, you've got residential property. Do you do apartment buildings, single family houses? It's going to be different in all the US states. It's going to be different in the UK. The north of England is different to the south of England. So to keep things simple, let's just say a rough average is about 5% growth on your home residence. Now, it doesn't matter if this was 10% or 0% or a bit negative, it's not going to change the message of this chart. So let's say 5%. And after inflation, this would be negative. Commodity, we saw negative after inflation. Gold having one of its best years for a long time, 30%. The crypto market crushing everything at 45%. And then one simple investment has been Bitcoin at 55%. And there it is, guys, stepping out all of the noise, all of the opinions, everything going on right now. This is what has actually happened this year. Crypto and Bitcoin undoubtedly has been the place to be. Now, as most of the people watching this are fans of crypto, we're going to try and dig in and we'll see which ones have actually been able to outperform Bitcoin or underperform. So I don't have year-to-date data, but this is the performance over the last year. So the last 12 months, being last October to this October. And it's the performance of the top 50 cryptos. So interestingly, Bitcoin, if you'd just invested in Bitcoin over the last 12 months, it would be 132%. So obviously an amazing investment. And these individual cryptos have outperformed Bitcoin. So if you'd have picked the winners, here they are. these are the ones that have underperformed Bitcoin. So you'd just been better off buying the king. And then unfortunately in the top 50, these were the 3 that have actually been negative for the past year. So very sad to see that Atom, so this is Cosmos, unfortunately down 30% over the past 12 months, which is a bit sad. XRP hasn't done very well over the last 12 months. Low performers from DOT to Litecoin to Ethereum Classic. Link has underperformed Bitcoin. Ethereum underperformed Bitcoin. Aptos underperformed Bitcoin. Then these are the ones where you are able to pick the winners. So clear shout out to people investing in either Pepe or Floki. 1500% for Pepe, almost 800% for Floki, which I was a holder of before I flipped. Congratulations to Solana holders, and Sui is the most recent one that has really popped off. AVAX has done well, BNB has done well, SHIB, INJ, Dogecoin, just to name a few. So what do we see? Well, it's been meme coin that have been the big winners. And I'd say because of this mid-cycle top, as the whole crypto market has been correcting, it's been incredibly boring for long-term investors. And so a big chunk of the market has been investing in meme coins, which is why these ones have been popping off. So congrats if you had a good chunk of money in Pepe. And then finally, I crunched the data on something else which I found very, very interesting. And I'm going to call this Now, when most of us look at the crypto market, we'll probably use something like coin market cap. And here we can see obviously the biggest cryptos, we see their market cap, we see their price, and this is how we view the crypto market. And viewed like this, we know obviously the top 10 and 20 are the biggest, but we'd think that all these are pretty similar, right? And then I know there's a lot of people that invest between the top 20 and 30 or 40 or 50. So there's tons of people investing down to about number 50. Well, this is how retail views the market. But if you were to go into the big institutions, then they'll probably view it more like this. So here is, I've managed to fit on roughly the top 17, and I've also included Coinbase and MicroStrategy, but this time I've listed it as a visual on their market cap. So how much money is in each one? And this way it gives us a very different perspective of the crypto market. And I would say a better perspective. So here you can see that really the vast majority of the crypto market is just in Bitcoin. This clearly shows that Bitcoin is king and it's the vast majority of the market. And between Bitcoin and Ethereum, and obviously this is just a stable coin, so you could even minus this out, Bitcoin and Ethereum pretty much make up most of the market. Coinbase is still relatively small, MicroStrategy is still relatively small, and then even if we go down to like the top 10 and you're very familiar with things like ADA or Avalanche, these are tiny cryptos in comparison to the big two. Now, if I could fit on number 20 or 30 or 40, they're barely going to be able to make a dent. So all these people trading meme coins, trading crypto number 30 or 40 or 50, they're pretty much specks of dust. They're just small retail plays that would barely make a dent on the market. So just bear in mind, this is why the big institutions invest in Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's why BlackRock is investing in Bitcoin and Ethereum, and it's why the small retail investors are playing these tiny little games about who is going to win. So I find this super useful to bear in mind, not just looking at CoinMarketCap, but viewing the market through the market cap. With all the noise and opinions flying around on social media every single day, it can be hard to know what is going on. And so today we crunched the numbers. For stocks and all index fund investors, the S&P is having an amazing year once again, up around 24%. Remember, the average is about 10, and so for all index fund investors, congrats. Gold is having an even better year, up 32%, and silver 40%. It was property, commodities, cash and bonds which have been the low performers, all giving low single digits. And surprise, surprise, it's been the crypto market that's outperformed everything else. Despite all the volatility, despite the massive 6-month correction, despite Gary Gensler and the SEC doing everything they can to hold the market back. And with a special shout out to Bitcoin for giving the best risk-adjusted return and for being a very simple, easy investment, which has pretty much outperformed everything else. Now, when it comes to next year, if history repeats, and that is a very important phrase, if history repeats, then next year in 2025, it will not only be the year for crypto, but the year for altcoins, and they will vastly outperform everything else by a massive margin, even Bitcoin. So there you are, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Exciting times ahead for crypto, but however, let me know your thoughts and comments below. However, just remember to get rid of 100% of the comment spam and trading bots that plague YouTube comments. We are trying out the new SuperThanks Commenting system. So to get your question or comment read and replied to, or just to say thanks, then use SuperThanks below. And for now, just to say, if you did enjoy anything in the video, then drop a like, and a big thank you to everyone who does, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.